lethal, and loud. This is the Scooter McGee Show on News Talk 1310 KFKA.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Well, good evening, Gotham. Welcome back. Good evening, Metropolis. Emerald City's in a New Babylon to the ISS and the rest of you. Live from the CRP 4x4 studios, I am Scooter McGee. Stand by for a Quantum News Network production. Hour 3 of the Scooter McGee Show. Headlines for tomorrow, 6/29/18. We are on false flag alert. And we are now through literally Labor Day. There is no suggesting now that the New World Order elite are not going to try some type of event to refocus our attentions on how important a New World Order actually is. Before we get to any more headlines of the current, they told me in the break here, okay, if you're watching me on video, yes, I am in excruciating pain. I didn't think I was going to be able to get through tonight. Adrenaline's just got me juiced. We forgot on this day in Illuminati history. This music tells us. We always throw it out at the bottom of the hour and 10. I don't know what happened. Guilty as charged. Here we go. 1236. Ferdinand III of Castile and Leon goes for the trifecta now and takes Cordoba. That in Spain. 1652. Here in the colonies, Massachusetts declaring itself an independent commonwealth. We'll have none of that. Tomorrow, 1767. Stand by for your first false flag here in the colonies. British Parliament now approving the Townshend Revenue Acts. Those import duties on glass, lead, paint, paper, and tea. Stand by for your Boston Tea Party, where Masons dress up as Indians in case they're caught. They can divert attention. It is on this day, 1776, the Virginia Constitution is adopted, and Patrick Henry is now made governor. Yeah, I wonder where that headline goes tomorrow. How about nowhere? 1804, Private John Collins and Hugh Hall, now of the Lewis and Clark expedition, are found guilty by a court-martial consisting of members of the Corps of Discovery. They were guilty of getting drunk on duty. Collins receiving 100 lashes on his back, Hall receiving 50 on his. 1880, France now annexing Tahiti. It is on this day, 1888, Professor Frederick Treves performing the first appendectomy in England. Turning the century, 1901, the first edition of Editor and Publisher is issued. Interesting headlines in the media tomorrow. Interesting headlines today in the media as they wrap for tomorrow. 1905, Russian troops intervene as riots erupt in ports all over the country. Many ships... What? Stampede ticket, sorry. Yes, World War II. Do we have one? Oh, sure we do. Tomorrow, 1944. The United States and the Soviet Union. They're involved in a little Tay-tar-Tay. However, back in time, 26 fascists in Rome now adding an hour to the workday. This for an economic efficiency measure. It is 1950, then U.S. President Harry S. Truman authorizing the sea blockade of Korea. 51, the United States inviting the Soviet Union to the Korean peace talks. That aboard a ship in Wonsan Harbor. 53, the Federal Highway Act authorizing the construction of 42,500 miles of freeway to allow the military to move their atomic weapons anywhere across the United States within a 36-hour period. 1954, the Atomic Energy Commission voting against reinstating Dr. Oppenheimer. 55, the Soviet Union now sending tanks to Poznan, Poland, to put down anti-communist demonstrations. Tomorrow, the Supreme Court is in the news, 1972, with their ruling that the death penalty could constitute cruel and unusual punishment. 82, Israel invades Lebanon. 95, the shuttle Atlantis and the Russian space station Mir dock. 2007, I'm here at KFKA. I fought this tooth and nail. Scooter, you got to get an iPhone. Why? I can't afford $50 flip phones. Why am I going? I don't even have an iPod. Well, see, with an iPhone, you'll have an iPod too. I don't want one. Well, you can link it up with your iTunes. I don't use iTunes. You're a DJ and you don't use iTunes? Yeah, I can actually beat mix vinyl without a little scratchy thingy. I got my little headset. That's not DJing, by the way. It's looking like an a-hole. Oh, yes, so those, oh, what? Did I? No, wait a minute. No, the red light would be on. I got black lights. Line 3. Delete. Line 2. Yeah, nope, sorry. Line 2. Line 1. Delete. World War II history. On this day tomorrow, you get Stampede concert tickets for Sunday night. 970-353-1310. Let's get through a few headlines. I will watch the board. I didn't realize I missed a call. We got to get this strobe light fixed. Yes. Up. Oops. Put that back right there. Nobody. You didn't see that on the webcam. As we reported earlier, a massive data leak affecting nearly all Americans coming out of Equifax. 330 million files consisting of 3.5 billion consumer, business, and digital records. Equifax. From the type of pet you have, the medication you take, whether you smoke pot, whether you smoke at all, what kind of religion are you? What are your interests? Where do you go? How many age and gender type children are in the house? Your email addresses, even your shadow ones. Your home addresses. Addresses where you may be spending other quality time. Phone numbers, home addresses, email addresses, personal characteristics. This involving, again, wow, I said that there's 330 million Americans. Oh, that number now is the leak involving about 340 million. Wow. No evidence, however, surfacing that anyone with malicious intent actually did this. Well, I guess you gotta kind of wait till the horses are out of the barn, branded and found on another ranch before you. Yeah, the breach has happened. So, stand by. Hearings in front of Capitol Hill. Oh, with the Commerce Department. Consumer Protection Subcommittees. Probably have to deal with the people at Homeland Security. And, of course, the regulators for the financial institutions. They all want to have a say in all of this. It was them who created these massive databases, of which at the time, many of you stood up and said, wait a minute, violating our privacy. In the meantime, how can you promise this stuff will be safe? Trust us. Well, the largest internet breach now in internet history. Equifax. All your data now loose. Can't get it back. Can't secure it. Wow. What a great reason now to bring back the real ID with the immigrant problem. No, the illegal alien problem. A collapsing economy. I'm surprised we haven't suddenly seen the Saddam Hussein super bills flying around. Corporate America announcing third quarter $6.3 trillion in debt. 1 interest point move by the Federal Reserve, not a quarter point, 1 point. That number goes from 6.3 trillion debt to 9 with the stroke of a keystroke. No pens involved anymore. Meanwhile, as the price of oil and gasoline continues to soar, the TSA now alleges the 4th of July weekend will be the busiest travel season, no longer Thanksgiving, requiring additional security on standby with the threat of global terrorism still on high alert. I'm telling you, they're getting ready to set us up. Meanwhile, more evidence that the economy for the working class is in the pee-shadoo. America's trucker shortage now allegedly could undermine the economy. We've been telling you about a shortage of truckers on this show for 5 years. So don't sit here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Again, the cost of fuel, the cost of transportation, the trains, the whole drill. But this next story, off the Rothschild-owned and controlled, supposedly nonpartisan Associated Press, a potential disaster on the horizon late summer, early fall, with the collapse of what used to be the American trucker. Hey, you party animals and super fans out there. Greeley Westside Liquor's got your party covered. Be the hit of your next party by calling 970-353-0036. That's 353-0036. Greeley Westside Liquor delivers to all of Greeley. Fast through the drive-thru and even faster by delivery from the friendliest folks in Greeley. Remember 30th and 10th Street? Remember Greeley Westside Liquor delivers after 4, open 8 a.m. to midnight 7 days a week, and Greeley Westside Liquor is your party bowl central.
What may be junk to you just might be another man's treasure. From stamps, sports memorabilia, silverware, or old jewelry, what may be junk to you just might be another man's treasures. Located at 2002 9th Street in Greeley, Another Man's Treasures can take these old items and convert them into cold, hard cash. Located at 2002 9th Street, remember Another Man's Treasure.
So you think the Pawn Stars are in Vegas, huh? Have you been to City National Pawn? 3301 West 10th Street in Greeley, and you're the Pawn Star. With great deals on commercial and industrial tools, electronics, smartphones, laptops, and fine jewelry, so many great deals and a constantly changing inventory guarantee you get the best deal in town at City National Pawn. Need quick cash fast? City National Pawn has got you covered there too. Monday through Friday and Saturdays, remember, you're the Pawn Star at City National Pawn, 3301 West 10th Street in Greeley.
Well, I'm glad to hear Chris is okay. What's the condition of his car?
It can be fixed. I'm just waiting to hear from my insurance adjuster as to where.
We'll take it over to Auto Collision Specialists. They've repaired my cars for years.
I wanted to, but my adjuster says I'll have to pay additional costs out of my own pocket to have it repaired at Auto Collision Specialists.
Stop. You pay your insurance premiums in good faith every month with the expectation that if you have an accident, your insurance company will pay what's necessary to repair your car correctly. In many cases, that's not what happens. Scare tactics like threatening to make you pay out of pocket or not warranting the work are tricks that will not be tolerated at Auto Collision Specialists. You can rest assured we have your best interests at heart and will do everything in our power to make sure your insurance company fulfills its commitment to you. Remember, insurance companies don't fix cars. We do.
Auto Collision Specialists, we'll take care of that.
Are you happy with your auto service or repair shop? Good. Stick with them, as we know how hard it can be to find someone reliable and efficient. For those of you who haven't found that dependable shop, here's a suggestion. Auto Tailor. They take the time to learn about the customer and their specific wishes for their vehicle. They won't assume you want X done when all you really need is Y. If the customer isn't happy, Auto Tailor's not happy either. Given an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, Auto Tailor is the smart, reliable choice for your vehicle. Call 353-3401 or visit them online at autotailor.com.
Matt Rivette started in real estate just in time for the bottom to fall out of the market, and it turns out it was a good time to start. From day one, Matt Rivette had to do it right. Serve the client. Turn for sale into sold. 32 years later, we know market conditions will change, but Matt Rivette's commitment to you won't. This is a good time to get to know Matt Rivette at Pro Realty. List your commercial, income, or residential property with Matt Rivette. Call Matt Rivette at 970-356-1234 or go to ProRealtyHomes.com.
Cutting-edge commentary from the edge of reality. The Scooter McGee Show is back on News Talk 1310 KFKA.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Good evening and welcome back, Gotham. Nearly every item sold in America touches a truck at some point. It's a gigantic... Oh, it is such a twisted web. The industry, including trucking companies, rapidly rising prices as they have to raise wages. The trucking industry alone has very special powers to affect an entire economy. Already, delivery delays are common. Businesses like Amazon, General Mills, Tyson, Swift, all raising prices as they pass higher transportation costs, of course, on to you, the consumer. That's what they do. Recently, a Walmart executive calling the rising transportation costs of the company's primary headwind. That's their problem. But a nation grappling with historically low levels of unemployment, trucking companies are doing what economists have said firms need to do to attract and retain workers. Hiking pay significantly, offering bonuses, even now recruiting people they previously would not have considered. My mentor, Greg Thunder, had he not found somebody and fallen in love after the midterms this year, Harmon was going to retire radio and get in a truck and drive like the Ice Road guys. Thoughts on this? 877-353-1310. To the phones we go. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm David from Greeley.
David, how are you?
All right. So I've been hearing these last 2 or 3 years, one of the main reasons for this collapse is that these trucks are going driverless.
I was going to get to that before your call. Elon Musk, of course, pointing out the only way we can save this, and it's interesting, Colorado, a beta test right up here in Fort Collins, I-25, Budweiser.
That's right.
And
that's
so
what I was going to comment on.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to get further into this, but I didn't know where you.
No,
we don't screen calls,
thing.
But yeah, Elon Musk wants to
disperse of all the logbooks and all the sick pay and all the downtime, and it's just easier if there wasn't a driver involved.
Correct. But we're also, and I'm sure you're seeing this across the United States, all of this driverless technology is resulting actually in more accidents per driverless cars than there would be accidents if there were a driver in it.
It's very scary.
It's frightening. And imagine, again, those little small electric cars versus, semis, 18-wheelers filled with, for example, just the kegs of Budweiser, of the beer.
Right. Just unreal. Anyway, that's all I wanted to comment on.
What do you think about recruiters now for the trucking industry offering, for example, $70,000 a year to drive? And what does it tell you that they can't fill the jobs?
Yeah, definitely.
No, but what does it tell you?
Oh,
as you said, you've been watching.
They're making that up.
Well, no, but you said you've been watching the trucking industry up here for a couple, 3 years.
No, I did. Yeah, I haven't been watching it closely. These are just little tidbits that I've gathered through the last couple of years.
Right, but again, the big hype, of course, Budweiser I-25, running it up and down the corridor. Success, a driverless Budweiser semi. That's great. Yeah. That's great until that thing plows through down at I-25 and Broadway at 65, full of beer, and kills how many?
Definitely. Well, they're saying that the trucks with drivers in them are doing that anyway.
Also very true. And that's the human error, the human element, that it can still happen. But, and you know this, the whole sell is, well, if you automate, it'll be safe. No, it won't.
I don't think so.
No different than the argument with Equifax, TRW, the credit repository. Look, there's only going to be a few of us. We'll all share each information. Don't worry about it. It'll all be safe. Every American's information is now out on the internet.
I know. Haven't we heard those words before?
Just slipped through the cracks, but if you give us some more money and sign the new legislation, we'll take care of this for you.
Yeah, I don't know.
But seriously, what does it tell you, for example, Colorado? I'm sorry, you said you're calling from Greeley?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd give my left testicle to get a job that pays $36,000 a year. That's poverty. What does it say, though, for example, Swift, Amazon, Walmart, offering $60,000 to $70,000 plus a $4,000 signing bonus, and they can't get employees to potential interviews for employees.
Yeah, I don't think they can live up to that pay grade.
Do you think 70, for example, is 70,000 still is it still, we see how much it costs to live across the United States, and the trucker, if they're going to drive, and with any seriousness, one day you're in Chicago, the next day you're in Memphis, the third day you're in Los Angeles, and the fifth day you're in Seattle. You go where the work is. You go where the seasonal work is. The shipping industry, for example, at post-Halloween, all the trucks start heading west to pull all the goods off port to bring them across the United States of what doesn't wind up on the rail. And even if it winds up on the rail, the truckers on the East Coast take what comes off the rail, puts it on their trucks, and delivers it.
Yeah. It's just a lot of time driving, a lot of time away from home.
It is. It is certainly a breed. Those who do it, I've always been amazed by those, and I never understood why we poop. I love truck stops. They have the best. Yeah. They have the best food, and some of the people, and say what you want about truck stops. Some of those people in there are the best people. It's the best slice of America to be able to sit down and talk about a myriad of issues with, again, this guy isn't from here. He's from where, it doesn't matter. He's been across the United States. He's got his finger on the pulse.
Well, he sees what's going on, and he hears what's going on in the parts of the states he goes to.
Absolutely. You see an out on this? Is there a solution other than the self-driver or the automated vehicles?
Oh, no. I can't think of one right now.
Or again, am I being conspiratorial? No, this is just another data point of how they're creating another crisis that will allege the economy's collapsing.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Fair enough. Dave, thanks for the call. If I don't talk to you, happy 4th of July. Hail the Republic.
You too. Bye.
877-353-1310. Yeah, I went back to the 80s last night. I got my Rubik's Cube, my Mattel Electronics pocket football, and what? Now I forgot my Def Leppard t-shirt. $60,000 to $70,000 a year to drive truck over the road, and America's trucker shortage could now undermine the economy. That headline coming from the Rothschild-owned and controlled, nonpartisan Associated Press. When we return, hell from Venezuela.
Real neat from our hearts to our feet and surprise them with a victory cry. Say we can act if we want to, if we don't nobody will. And you can act real rude and totally removed, and I can act like an imbecile. Say we can dance, everything's out of control. We can dance, we're doing it from pole to pole. We can dance, everybody look at your hands. We can dance, everybody's taking the chance.
We're going to cool it down by about 10 degrees for Friday and then another 10 for the weekend. Otherwise, Matt Makins with your Colorado's own Channel 2's pinpoint weather forecast. Today, hot again, obviously. Tonight, we barely cool off much at all. We'll stop in the mid-60s. For Friday, sunny and 95, so no triple-digit heat. For Saturday, a slight chance of afternoon thunder showers to carry into the evening. High temperatures will be around 80 degrees or so. Sunday, a bit drier with highs near 85.
This weather update is brought to you by North Range Behavioral Health. Visit northrange.org.
Hey, you party animals and super fans out there. Greeley Westside Liquor's got your party covered. Be the hit of your next party by calling 970-353-0036. That's 353-0036. Greeley Westside Liquor delivers to all of Greeley. Fast through the drive-thru and even faster by delivery from the friendliest folks in Greeley. Remember 30th and 10th Street? Remember Greeley Westside Liquor delivers after 4. Open 8 a.m. to midnight 7 days a week. And Greeley Westside Liquor is your party bowl central.
So you think the Pawn Stars are in Vegas, huh? Have you been to City National Pawn? 3301 West 10th Street in Greeley, and you're the Pawn Star. With great deals on commercial and industrial tools, electronics, smartphones, laptops, and fine jewelry. So many great deals and a constantly changing inventory guarantee you get the best deal in town at City National Pawn. Need quick cash fast? City National Pawn has got you covered there too. Monday through Friday and Saturdays, remember, you're the Pawn Star at City National Pawn, 3301 West 10th Street in Greeley.
Last time on the Hull Show.
Top 5 Broncos that are feeling the most pressure. So here's how I've got it going. I go Case Keenum, I go Devontae Booker, and at the left tackle position, I do go Garrett Bowles. I'm going number 4 with Emmanuel Sanders. Bradley Roby, to me, is number 5. Because with him going forward, he's essentially taking Harris's spot. Harris is taking Talib's spot. So now Roby is that number 2.
This has been the Hull Show replay. For more, tune in weekdays from 11 to 1 on 1310 KFKA.
What may be junk to you just might be another man's treasure. From stamps, sports memorabilia, silverware, or old jewelry, what may be junk to you just might be another man's treasures. Located at 2002 9th Street in Greeley, Another Man's Treasures can take these old items and convert them into cold, hard cash. Located at 2002 9th Street, remember, another man's treasure.
Are you happy with your auto service or repair shop? Good. Stick with them, as we know how hard it can be to find someone reliable and efficient. For those of you who haven't found that dependable shop, here's a suggestion. Auto Tailor. They take the time to learn about the customer and their specific wishes for their vehicle. They won't assume you want X done when all you really need is Y. If the customer isn't happy, Auto Tailor's not happy either. Given an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, Auto Tailor is the smart, reliable choice for your vehicle. Call 353-3401 or visit them online at autotailor.com.
What's so great about the Nerd Store?
Comic books.
That's cool.
Board games.
That's really cool.
Collectibles.
Cool beans.
Graphic novels.
You bet your bottom dollar the Nerd Store has graphic novels.
Pokemon and Magic the Gathering.
How magical.
Weekly tournaments.
Sweet.
They buy and sell used video games.
The Nerd Store buys and sells used video games?
They sure do. Go to facebook.com/The Nerd Store to find out more. The Nerd Store, 807 8th Street, downtown Greeley.
Hey, that's my line.
Well, I'm glad to hear Chris is okay. What's the condition of his car?
It can be fixed. I'm just waiting to hear from my insurance adjuster as to where.
We'll take it over to Auto Collision Specialists. They've repaired my cars for years.
I wanted to, but my adjuster says I'll have to pay additional costs out of my own pocket to have it repaired at Auto Collision Specialists.
Stop. You pay your insurance premiums in good faith every month with the expectation that if you have an accident, your insurance company will pay what's necessary to repair your car correctly. In many cases, that's not what happens. Scare tactics like threatening to make you pay out of pocket or not warranting the work are tricks that will not be tolerated at Auto Collision Specialists. You can rest assured we have your best interests at heart and will do everything in our power to make sure your insurance company fulfills its commitment to you. Remember, insurance companies don't fix cars. We do.
Auto Collision Specialists will take care of that.
Cutting-edge commentary from the edge of reality. The Scooter McGee Show is back on News Talk 1310 KFKA.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Your political candidates on either side of the aisle who refuse to sign an affidavit to abolish the Federal Reserve if elected are nothing more than puppets. And you're a stooge for thinking that they're going to be able to solve anything in government. Okay, welcome back. If my memory serves, it was Marion Loveland who tried to point out how full of you-know-what I was when it came to Venezuelans' inflation. We already proved those numbers, how wrong she was. It wasn't 1,400%, it was 14,000%. Well, 5 million Venezuelan bolivars. That's less than $1.50. That's also the minimum wage worker for an entire month now in Venezuela. $1.45. It now takes 1 million bolivars just to buy a cup of coffee in a Venezuelan cafe. That's 1/5 of Venezuela's monthly minimum wage. A 10,000 bill stack of Venezuelans' most common banknote, the 100 bolivar bill. Illustrating Venezuela's rampant inflation, Bloomberg now tracking the price of a cup of coffee since just December 2016 in its Café con Leche index. One dose of caffeine costs 450 bolivars when the index was launched 2 years ago. Now it's 43,378% inflation. Not 14,000, Mary. 43. It is now on the parabolic up. This is the curve, and then boom. It is now vertical. Just since this spring, I believe it was Mary from Loveland who said I was full of when it came to Maduro and the inflation rate. And I said it was 1,400%. I had to come out on the air and say I was wrong. It was 14,000%. Before the end of the year at this rate, by the way, we're at how many? 43? 43,378% inflation. Bloomberg is expecting in the next 6 months that number to increase tenfold plus to 482,000% rate of inflation. For a cup of coffee. Trump wants to announce the Supreme Court nominee by June 11th for the upcoming NATO summit. He'd like to do this before he leaves Brussels. Democrats, of course, are already calling his attempt to seat a new Supreme Court justice so quickly before he's elected. He's reelected. He gets reelected in 2 years, you Democratic idiots. We can't appoint a Supreme Court justice with the elections in play. He's not a lame duck like the other idiot. Can we replace D with F? Meanwhile, the Democrat out of New York, Senator Kristen Gillibrand, now calling for the elimination of ICE. We have to separate the criminal justice from immigration issues. Kristen, they're illegal. And that is a criminal issue. ICE has become a deportation force. That's hysterical. They're not being allowed to deport anybody. We're going to have to put them up in tent. It's going to be cheaper to spend a night in a Trump hotel property than it's going to be to stay in a tent city. And, for example, Minnesota, after Vietnam, and in particular Wisconsin, Fort McCoy, the Hmong and Laotians, Cambodians. These are three different things. The Hmong population, by the way, assisted the U.S. in the illegal war in Vietnam, and we abandoned them. And after the fall of Saigon, their people were all but eliminated from the face of this planet. The CIA and the United States government abandoned them. Then finally, in the late 70s, those that did survive and were able to be brought out were brought here to the United States. And they were kept in a military, in particular Fort McCoy in Wisconsin. And then they were allowed to integrate into the United States population, not infiltrate. So I can't even believe that the libs now want to bring up the Hmong population and somehow attach and associate some type of similarity with these illegal fucking aliens coming out of Mexico and further south. And God only knows where, because we're not allowed to vet, because God forbid we separate them from their kids. By the way, keeping adults and children in a detention facility is ripe for sexual abuse. The situation now coming out of Maryland getting an interesting spin. In the wake of the first 6 hours post of the shooting, talking about the shooter was deliberately targeting individuals. Associated Press, ABC, NBC, CBS now saying he wasn't targeting anybody. So where'd that story come from? They just ran with it. They just made it up. It fed the machine for another 15 minutes. Simply ridiculous. Immigration protest at the United States Capitol resulting now in the arrest of 575 people charged with unlawfully demonstrating. Most of them were women calling on Congress to end the separation of undocumented children from their parents at the border. Yelling, "We care. We don't have a heart of ice." Senate passing the Farm Bill, 86-11, earlier today, Thursday, June 28th, 2018. Passing an $867 billion farm bill. The measure funds everything from crop subsidies to food aid and rural development. Now lawmakers must reconcile the differences between the two bills before sending the legislation to Trump. But we don't have money for that. No. Current farm bill expires on September 30th. In the House, the bipartisan negotiations skidding to a stop after Republicans proposing making changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. You know it as SNAP. It's now being used by over 10% of the population. Good little nation of slaves, that's all we have. President now launching a direct attack going after Robert Mueller by name for hiding conflicts of interest. So whether it's on a local level or a national level, we're going to start pointing out the conflicts of interest, the abuses of power, and the outright fraud. And I'm sorry, maybe an aggressive word, but it's discrimination. And again, when you're dealing with election laws, then that's federal. Mueller now filing 30 pages of financial disclosure materials from last August. But Trump says that even though the special counsel filed those disclosures, he's hiding conflicts of interest. A rare personal attack coming from Trump. In a pair of tweets, he writes, when is Bob Mueller going to list his conflicts of interest? Why has it taken so long? And then he said, will they be listed at the top of his $22 million report? What about the 13 angry Democrats? Will they list their conflicts with crooked Hillary? How many people will be sent to jail and persecuted for an old and totally unrelated charges? There was no collusion. There was no obstruction of no collusion. And what's going on in the FBI and Department of Justice with crooked Hillary and the DNC and all their lies? A disgraceful situation. And that is what this has become. Members of Congress are demanding that the investigation be wrapped up so that the evidence can be presented in good time. We're working with prosecutors. No, you're not. Well, we'll get back to the investigation after the midterms. We have to worry about gun control. We can't let the president now appoint a Supreme Court justice right before he gets thrown out of office. This is the midterm elections. Trump denied Russia collusion and called the probe a witch hunt over a year ago. This is getting stupid.
Witch hunt. That's all we hear about.
Yeah, here, no, go back to that.
And yet, all we hear about is this phony Russia witch hunt. That's all we hear about. So, just when I'm walking on the stage, a highly respected judge in Virginia made statements. It says, Wall Street Journal, it says, judge questions Mueller's authority to prosecute Manafort. Now, Paul Manafort's a nice guy, but you know...
Yeah, and look at what they did and how many millions of dollars did they flush out of his system. The Federal Reserve, the central banks, the IRS, and the United States government are nothing more than a mob. They're organized crime. And you're nothing more than victims. But you're going to live in your Stockholm delusional syndromed world, or your delusional Stockholm syndromed world, because you just want to be we all just want to be left alone. But government won't leave us alone. Government keeps claiming they're going to fix the problems, and I'm telling you, government has created 99% of the problems to date.
Oh, he worked for me for a very short period of time, literally. Like, what, a couple of months? Little period of time. Then what happens? He worked for Ronald Reagan. He worked for Bob Dole. They worked, I think, as a firm for John McCain. They work for others. Does anybody say that? No. But he's out there fighting. On fake news CNN, I think NBC may be more distorted and worse, but no, but on CNN, they have a headline. Judge in Manafort case says Mueller's aim is to hurt Trump. You believe that? This is what we're up. It's called the witch hunt. So I just said, give me that article. I want to read it. Just happened a few minutes before I walked on stage. A federal judge Friday questioned special counsel Robert Mueller's authority to bring tax and bank fraud charges unrelated. Nobody knows that. Everyone thinks, unrelated to the 2016 election.
It's all been one giant smokescreen. Hillary Rodham Clinton was heir apparent. They still can't believe she lost. Hillary Rodham Clinton and Joe Biden getting ready for another run at the 2020 presidential election to defeat the evil President Trump. Congress now. We are not going to have any Supreme Court nominee appointments until we get to the bottom of this investigation, which may happen sometime next year. If anyone is colluding, it is the Democrats and the left media as they prop themselves up as center and nonpartisan, attacking anyone who points out taxation is theft. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. It is slipping through our fingers, and these corkscrew and ice holes as globalists are snatching it out from under us while worried about bread and circus and what's on your Netflix. The largest security data breach in the history of mankind. 98.5% of Americans' data has been breached. Congress will have hearings. They'll pass legislation. They'll tax for more money. And they'll promise this never happens again. But how many times has this happened before? Hey, you party animals and super fans out there. Greeley Westside Liquor's got your party covered. Be the hit of your next party by calling 970-353-0036. That's 353-0036. Greeley Westside Liquor delivers to all of Greeley. Fast through the drive-thru and even faster by delivery from the friendliest folks in Greeley. Remember 30th and 10th Street? Remember Greeley Westside Liquor delivers after 4. Open 8 a.m. to midnight 7 days a week. And Greeley Westside Liquor is your party bowl central.
Well, hi, everybody. Dr. Ron Caskey jumping in here just for a real quick special announcement about probably the hottest indexed annuity I've seen in a decade. And you need to call and get the rest of the information. Allow me to sit down and show it to you. But it has a 10% guaranteed roll-up. That's an income roll-up. So it's a guaranteed 10% for the first 10 years, plus a 10% bonus on the premium. And the second 10 years has a 5% guaranteed roll-up. I also have one with an 8% guaranteed and 2 times the index in addition to that. And then I've got one here that you can add to for 7 years. So you need to call and get the information on that. Here's my toll-free number, 877-218-1972. I don't know how long this will be around, so don't put it off. Call me now.
Last time on the Hull Show.
Top 5 Broncos that are feeling the most pressure. So here's how I've got it going. I go Case Keenum, I go Devontae Booker, and at the left tackle position, I do go Garrett Bowles. I'm going number 4 with Emmanuel Sanders. Bradley Roby, to me, is number 5 because with him going forward, he's essentially taking Harris's spot. Harris is taking Talib's spot. So now Roby is that number 2.
This has been the Hull Show replay. For more, tune in weekdays from 11 to 1 on 1310 KFKA. Cutting-edge commentary from the edge of reality. The Scooter McGee Show is back on News Talk 1310 KFKA.
From the CRP 4x4 Studios, Gotham, I will see you Friday night for a Take Out the Trash News Weekend Live. We'll come back for the disclaimer, but remember, boys and girls, paranoia is patriotic. And, never mind.
No. Be of good cheer. It teaches us to accept our failures as well as our successes with quiet dignity and grace. Son of a I'll get you for this! What did you do to me? What did you do? I don't want to live! I do not want to live!
I can tell you now that if this pain continues, this will be the position now of the Scooter McGee Show. Morning crew, just throw me out in the hallway. So the opinions, views, and ideas expressed on this show is crazy, isn't it? My God, I look like a beached whale. See, and I can't make that sound anymore. Reconstructive surgery. Okay, so the opinions, views, and ideas expressed. Look, sorry, I'm snapping. I'm sick of the corruption. I'm sick of the lies. I'm sick of all these corkscrew and ice holes telling you they're out looking for you when all they're doing is out looking for themselves. It's time we rally and wake up, America.
What may be junk to you just might be another man's treasure.